Hi, I'm TBABY, and this is part 2 of my redesigns for My Little Pony Infection AU. Now, to get a few things out of the way, I just first want to say thank you so much for all the support. It's really crazy. I'm at like 450 subscribers while recording this, and literally like 2 days ago I was at 48. So you guys are actually crazy. And another thing, somebody made fan art of one of my designs, and that is awesome. I'm putting it on screen with all their socials right now. You guys are crazy and awesome. Thank you so much. I might make a Discord server. I also might do more designs other than the main 6. It depends on how I feel. But today we're doing Pinkie Pie and Applejack. And I'm not doing this in any particular order at all. And I also don't draw ponies that often. So it's not going to be perfect, nor are these super finished, polished pieces. It's more like concept art, but this is what we're working with. Thanks, guys. So here we are, starting with Pinkie Pie. And before we really talk anything about the lore, I just want to focus mainly on the art process. You noticed a little earlier the resolution was weird. It's because I was trying to do warm-up sketches, but the sketch I ended up doing came out really good, so I just started recording after that. And so I had to use Clip Studio's time-lapse to get it. So with Pinkie Pie's design, I wanted to make her still really fluffy, and I still wanted her to be super bright and fun despite everything going on, because I don't think she'd lose that, but she definitely has lost a lot of her personality in certain aspects just because of situation. For one, I made her tail super duper poofy, and the reason I did that is because in the show she has like those Pinkie Pie senses, and I'm pretty sure she felt like danger in her tail. So in her mind, she needs it to be longer so she can, you know, sense danger better. I also decided to add this yellow because I thought it was a really nice color to break up some of that pink, and I add blue later in the design. But let's get into some of that juicy lore, alright? But before we can actually talk about Pinkie Pie as like a character, we have to talk about the general situation most of the ponies are in. So after the initial breakout, the Canterlot Castle was like converted into a safe house for most citizens to live in, going as far as to like change the dungeons into living quarters and other facilities. I imagine that right now there's like a lot of infrastructure trying to be built. Most people are focusing on regrowing farms and getting schools back in order for fillies. Pinkie Pie, however, has like completely like distanced herself from society and descended really deep into the castle's dungeons, the parts that they're not even using and that's still cavernous. And so basically what she does in all of her free time now is, in the show we see a little bit of Pinkie's like smart side. We know that she can build shit like pretty consistently, and that she is very much an inventor at times. And so I wanted to expand on that. She's definitely in like her little cave making contraptions to keep herself safe and to keep herself occupied, because Pinkie Pie has become extremely paranoid since the outbreak has happened. She believes that danger's lurking right around the corner, and that if she doesn't do something proactive, she's gonna get caught at probably the worst times. And this anxiety was definitely enhanced after she saw what has happened to Fluttershy. And just that situation alone has completely destroyed her, seeing her friend like that, and it's kind of what tipped her over the edge to get to this point. That was probably one of the biggest contributors to her leaving most of the other ponies. Another one is because she kind of recognizes that she's not really becoming the best person anymore. She's been doing this thing where she'll constantly eat as much sugar as she can to feel as hyped up as possible and just try to drive out any of the bad emotions. And being super paranoid and hyped up on all that sugar isn't really the best mix, and she starts getting really aggressive and lashing out at her friends, and so she just decided to go away, right? She didn't want to become a problem, and she didn't want to feel like she's constantly in danger, so she just left deep into the fucking dungeons, right? And so now, really the only people who ever come to see Pinkie Pie is Applejack and Rarity. They're the only two who actively seek Pinkie Pie out anymore and know where she is deep in these dungeons. However, she does come out every once in a while just to gather supplies and maybe food. People usually see her lurking in the corners every now and then, but she's definitely not a prominent figure anymore. She's almost always in the background until danger has come about and she needs to protect the people she loves. That's what most of her contraptions are now being used for. A lot of it is on the defensive side, and oftentimes Rarity's actually sent down to collect some of these objects that Pinkie has made in order to install them into the castle and pretty much help keep the ponies alive and safe from the outside world. In Pinkie Pie's design, I right now we see like little goggles on her, but I end up getting rid of these goggles in place of a welder's mask because I just thought it'd be better for her character. And at some point, I also give her these like weird little spikies on her like feet and stuff, mainly because I just thought it looked cool and I thought she needed more metal in her design to pull in the metalworking. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna add a little bit more to her if I ever redraw her, but for right now her design's pretty bare bones. It's mainly, most of the redesign is in her colors and just her main shape right now. So I know a lot of you have been really interested in what Discord has been doing, especially with Fluttershy and the condition that she's in. I feel like at the initial outbreak, Discord was very worried about Fluttershy and her friends, and he did all that he could to protect them, and when he found out Fluttershy was infected, he was extremely distraught. However, I also believe that as the infection got worse, and disharmony started spreading a lot, he started to feel the power he was gaining as more and more chaos pursued, and it's definitely clouded his judgment in a lot of ways. And so I think that's one of the contributing factors as to why Fluttershy is still the way she is. It's just frankly because Discord doesn't really realize what's happening anymore, and it's just clouded by power. And so, even with this, he does still interact with most of the main six, especially Fluttershy. He definitely goes to see her constantly. However, he has started to visit Pinkie Pie as well, which is a part of the reason as to why she's so keen on eating sugar. Been based off of his encouragement. He's definitely telling her to do all this stuff because he keeps promising Pinkie Pie that he'll do something about Fluttershy, but I don't think there's really anything he can do. So it's just kind of a constant cycle of manipulation and false promises, which not only drives Pinkie further into her decline, but also just kind of makes Discord not the greatest guy anymore, you know? So at this point, I'm just working on the metal. I end up redoing the metal because my art program actually crashed on me, and it was not good at all. Oh wow, I really like working on this art piece. I hope nothing bad happens to it. Oh God! Come on, man. Please, it should... So yeah, my art program crashed and it sent me back by like an hour. It sent me back enough to where it just mentally destroyed me for a little bit. So instead of just taking a break and continuing tomorrow like I should have, I decided to just keep pushing through and made a much shittier version of what I was originally working on. But I was at the final stretch. I just really didn't want to back out now. I actually ended up fixing it in post because I didn't like some of the metal bits, like the neck and one of the arm ones are completely gone just because it really just didn't look good on the piece. Something I didn't talk about was her eyes. I wanted her to kind of look a little fucking crazy because she is hyped up on sugar, and not only is that happening, she's also slightly under Discord's influence, so that's definitely affecting her even more mentally. Pinkie Pie's just not doing that great. I'm gonna be so for real with you. But we're pretty much almost done with the speed paint. And so this is the final piece. You see I edited it. And this is her without the metal. Now we're just jumping straight into Applejack. Applejack gave me such a hard time. I literally have no idea why I was having so much difficulty, but I probably redrew the body and pose like 50 times. I edited it all out now, but just know I was struggling for a very long time and I'm still not quite satisfied with it. I see a lot of places I can improve on, but I can't be bothered to redo the same piece over and over again. I'll start something new if it upsets me that much. So getting into the lore now, Applejack was one of the main ponies to help others get into the safe zone, and she put herself on the front line to fend off any infected that were trying to harm others. But during the initial outbreak, she was extremely careful and attempted to bunker down with her family and friends, including like Twilight, Rarity, and all of them, until she ended up finding out Apple Bloom was infected. And so essentially what happened was her friends forced her out of the farm and to come to the facility after they found out Apple Bloom was infected and could spread the virus at any moment. And so after that happened, and after she basically knew Apple Bloom was dead, she started to get more reckless over time, believing that everyone else in her family was dead until she got severely injured, which left her disabled. And she got super depressed after that, not really caring about keeping herself safe in any way. She stopped cutting her mane for protection and just generally started doing the bare minimum with herself. That was until one day she ended up getting a letter from Big Mac stating most of her family was alive and doing well, which got a lot of her spirits back up. And as much as she wanted to just go out and find them, she knew she had to sit and wait for an opportunity to rise. She couldn't just go out there and just let herself die before she could ever see her family again. So now what she does a lot in her spare time is she now takes the role of a caregiver and helps a lot with the kids in the facility. She's even gone as far as giving little classes to help with education. And I like to imagine she's done this is because she really regrets not being able to save Apple Bloom. So she's projecting her little sister onto all these younger kids, and she feels really comforted being able to take care of all of these children as if she would her sister. And I just think it gives her a really good peace of mind knowing that someone is still there for everyone, someone who's still strong-spirited. And that's pretty much all I have for Applejack. I do think, however, her family, although they're not in the facility, I think they're doing relatively okay. I like to imagine her family is like some like little clan that like protects themselves and has like bunkered down really good, and it's just like they're kind of just going wild, right? But they're living. And I think that's the most important part, because I do not think a family of fucking farmers would go out like that. Hell well, no. They'd probably survive the longest. But that's all I have lore-wise, really. She does not like what's happening with Fluttershy. She can't stand it. She thinks it's horrible, in that she thinks Fluttershy should just be put down, basically. She can't stand her being in this constant state. But, you know, it is what it is. So for colors, I decided to get rid of the red entirely. I only use a little red, and it's for the shading, and I don't even know if... I didn't really use red, more like a reddish orange. But even with that, I got rid of all the red, and I wanted the greens to pop out more, because I think orange and green is a really good color combination, and I don't really think any of the other characters have green on them. So I just wanted a little bit of variety in the color when it came to the cast. And after I finished just doing some small details, I ended up going back and color correcting, so her colors are a lot deeper. And right here, I wanted to draw like little kids around her, but I just decided that I just wanted it to be her by herself. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for her. We're gonna finish off the speed paint, but next episode, which isn't coming out next week, but the week after, I will be finishing up the main 6 with Rainbowdash and Twilight. And then, if I'm feeling like it, I might do something. Here are the finished designs, right next to each other. I really like the colors. If there's anything I could change about it, it'd be the poses and just general anatomy, but I'm not really good with pony anatomy. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please comment, subscribe, tell me if you're interested in Discord. Bye bye.